What is up, guys? It's your boy Rick Kakis, and today we've got some brand spanking new Destiny 2 news, courtesy of the Bungie weekly update that has just gone live, revealing official information. And so, let's get started. But just before we do, yes, I know it's another Raid Shadow Legends ad. I'm sure you guys have seen a lot of them, but I'm also sure you've wondered, is it actually a good game? Well, I've been playing for over 271 days and I haven't missed a single daily login. Guys, Raid Shadow Legends unironically has more depth and judging by recent events, I dare say more polish than a lot of AAA games. Let me show you what I mean. Here are my current top 3 champs. Pythion has an incredible passive that reduces damage based on how many buffs you have. Mithrala pumps out buffs for your entire team like there's no tomorrow, and she also applies a hex. And then Mishinaki has a passive where he will join into an attack on a hexed enemy for an insane amount of extra damage. I use all 3 of them combined together for incredible synergy against the clan boss. But guys, as always, there's so much going on in Raid right now. First off, we're hunting dragon eggs. Download the game with the links below, copy your player ID to the website you can see before May 15th, and you can embark in an exciting AR adventure. Scour the dragon's lair, and if you find the hidden egg, new players can win in-game and real-life prizes, including Amazon gift cards with a total value of $20,000. Existing players can still head over there for a special promo code so everyone can earn a small in-game gift. In fact, if you click the link or scan the QR code, you get this incredible starter pack, which includes an epic champion. So come on guys, I know you've always been curious, so go ahead, click the link and try out Raid Shadow Legends. Alright, now, first things first, what's been going on this week with Destiny 2? Well, actually quite a bit. In-game, we have double Nightfall rewards. So if you are able to beat a Grandmaster Nightfall with a Platinum rating, you're gonna get an insane amount of loot. 2 exotic armor pieces usually, 2 adept Nightfall weapons, 3 to 4 ascendant shards. You also have prisms, additional loot. You're also completing the platinum contender card every single time you do as well. So a huge loot farm available for this week, and I have done a guide for how to beat the Glassway Strike on Grandmaster pretty easily. I'm telling you, it's the easiest week I've ever had for farming this, just because of how good Strand is with dealing with the locations and with the boss fight room within this strike. Now, moving on from there, just yesterday, we also had some absolutely massive Destiny 2 news drop. And that's because Bungie unveiled 24 different exotic armor pieces that are getting either buffed or nerfed when the new season, Season of the Deep, launches on May 23rd. And oh my goodness, it's caused quite a discussion, let's just say that. Certainly, there were some bad exotics that were brought up that seemingly are getting some pretty big buffs, which is always exciting and good to see. You know, that can potentially enable some new builds and fun different loadouts next season. But also, of course, we had some major controversy because honestly, some of, if not the most popular exotics in the entire game were nerfed pretty severely. The STARFIRE protocol caught a massive nerf. The Stompies seemed to be catching strays out of nowhere. It got a kind of a buff, but also a massive nerf as well. And in fact, this caused such a ruckus. As you can see, Stompies was trending on Twitter. And as you can imagine, it wasn't necessarily full of a bunch of people saying, oh, I'm really glad Bungie toned down the Stompies. It was actually quite the opposite. But OPHIDIAN Aspects and DUNEMARCHERS also caught the nerfs. So again, Bungie seemed to go after the overall kind of best neutral game exotics for PvP with this one fell swoop. And again, it's caused a lot of discussion. The usage numbers of these are very high. So if you're just going off usage numbers, it would make total sense to nerf these things. However, I will say something that I've seen a lot of people not really understanding, and that's the fact that neutral game exotics are popular not necessarily because their exotic abilities are super powerful, but because they're consistent. They provide their bonuses 100% of the time. So every single time you're alive within the game, every single gunfight, your exotic is going to be doing something. You know, your movement speed is always going to be a factor no matter which part of the match you're in. Now, is that super powerful compared to other exotics? I mean, the Omnioculus gives you 2 smokes, enables insane invisibility builds. You got the gauntlets that let you bank weighted knife around corners and get kills. There are some insanely powerful exotic abilities that are much more powerful than something like the Stompies, but they lack that consistency. So if all you look at is usage charts, you're gonna end up nerfing all of these neutral game exotics, where realistically, I'd rather play a team of Stompies users versus a team of Omnioculus invisibility spammers, and I think a lot of you guys watching would probably agree. So I think Bungie kind of puts too much weight on these usage charts and goes over these neutral game exotics that really aren't that oppressive to play against. Just one man's opinion. And apparently, judging by Twitter, a lot of other people's opinions, but I digress. Regardless of what you think, these changes will provide a massive meta shakeup next season for both PvE and PvP. So get ready to remake some builds when Season of the Deep launches. Now, moving on from there, guys, let's talk about the brand new information within the TWAB. First of all, Bungie breaks down the current standings within Guardian Games. In first place is Titans, let's go. Second place, Warlocks. Third place, Hunters, where they deserve to be. Anyways, moving on from there, in terms of the money raised for the Bungie Foundation, here are the first 2 4th place teams right here. Now, moving on from there, guys, we actually had the first teaser trailer for Season of the Deep, showcasing some actual, what seems to be gameplay from this season. I'm gonna let that play right now.
To any Guardians listening, this is Deputy Commander Sloan requesting emergency support.
So, there's actually a lot going on within this little teaser. The first thing you see is a space scene with a couple of planets. Well, in the forefront, that appears to be Titan, which is a moon of Saturn, and you can see Saturn in the background there. So that would indicate we're going down to Titan, and then you can actually see Guardians ships flying in over like a massive, ocean, whatever. Titan is covered in oceans of methane. So there you have it. Again, and it looks like Titan as well. The next thing you see is Guardians looking out like a peephole, a window, and then a massive Leviathan going through. Somebody called Jeremy Wade, we have a river monster on our hands. Now, after that, you do also see, like in the end screen, like an actual underwater scene. You see a bunch of like, space kelp, space fish, all that stuff around here. But like, are we actually going underwater? This is kind of the question and also the meme with this season. Right now, if you go and touch water within the game, your character instantly dies. Like, water is a death zone in Destiny 2 and has been that way for years. So, it's going to be interesting if we're actually like going underwater on Titan, but everywhere else we just instantly die. Not to mention, the voice you hear talking within the teaser actually introduces themselves as Sloan, who, as we thought, was originally showed within that teaser image, and Sloan is the main vendor of the planet Titan when it was in the game before it was put in the Destiny content vault. Now, the big question here is, are we actually going back to Titan, or are we kind of going back to Titan? And here's what I mean, guys. Like, technically, Mars as a destination is not, like, necessarily in the game. Like, you can't load in on the planet of Mars, and yet, if you go to the Enclave, and if you play Heist Battleground Mars, you're definitely on Mars. So, like, is Mars in the game or not as an official destination, right? Like, that's literally a hard question to answer because, like, it's kind of in the game, but it's also kind of not in the game. So is that the way we will see Titan return, is that we have a couple of, missions and the seasonal activity takes place on Titan, or will we actually be able to load in on a new planet in the destination of Titan? That is the big question. But moving on from there, Bungie actually reveals the next ritual weapon coming in Season of the Deep, and here it is. So this is the Last Rite Scout Rifle. It, as you can clearly see, is a Tex Mechanica kinetic aggressive scout rifle. So there's only one other legendary Tex Mechanica aggressive in the game, and that drops from the Spire of the Watcher dungeon. I forget what it was called, but it's like an Arc 120 because they're actually modeled after the Dead Man's Tail. You can see the visual similarity, which is also an aggressive frame 120 archetype. So very exciting to see another one finally enter the fold, and this one in the kinetic slot, so you can actually replace the Dead Man's Tail with a legendary version in the same slot. Hopefully it will have some interesting perks, and obviously you can see the different ornaments right here. And continuing with information about Season of the Deep, Bungie says, speaking of ornaments, last week we gave you a glimpse of what's coming next season. This week, we wanted to give you a quick preview of the ornament sets that will be available as part of the Season 21 Seasons Pass. So get ready to have plenty of options for Under the Sea themed tea parties. Here is a closer look at that armor that was first shown off within that original teaser image, but from far away. So yeah, that is very underwater themed. Now, after that, guys, they say we're not kidding when we say we're going under the sea. Here's a glimpse of one of the places you'll be headed in Season of the Deep. Well, there you have it. That answers my question. We are actually going underwater. Now, is this like, one place? Is this just going to be a social area, or is there actually going to be combat underwater? Are you going to move differently when underwater? Like I would imagine you would move slower and you would jump slower and stuff like that. So potentially we're going to have a really interesting season pretty soon here. Moving on from there, guys, Bungie says there is going to be a new dungeon coming within Season of the Deep, and it's going to be launching at 10 a.m. Pacific, so reset on Friday, May 26th, the first Friday after the season has gone live. And so guys, there you have it. I hope you enjoyed and found this informative. If you did, please remember to help me out by simply rating and especially sharing this video. If you guys want to see more Destiny 2 content similar to this, don't be afraid to slap that subscribe button. If you want to get in touch with me and keep up to date with the latest channel activity, the best way is to follow me on Twitter at RickCacus. That is linked in the description down below. Again, I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, have a good day.